We're at the point in the offseason where things really start to heat up. The hot stove begins to burn and we start to see free agents sign. But the market is usually dictated by those players at the top of it. So what we're going to be doing here over the next coming couple of weeks is we're going to be examining the best free agents and their 5 most likely landing destinations for this 2026 campaign and beyond. So keep it locked in here at the Baseball Banter Broadcast, and let's get into it. As we get into the number 5 landing spot for Edwin Diaz, it is that of the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers came very, very close to being able to advance to the American League Championship Series in an epic and grueling 5-game series against the Seattle Mariners. One of the things that did hurt the Tigers, though, was not having the potential postseason closer that is a solidified relief ace like Edwin Diaz. Going into this offseason, the Tigers have to be looked at as one of the 2 favorites in the American League Central Division. It, in my opinion, is a 2, potentially 3-team race, depending on what the Royals do this offseason, but it's going to be a battle of the Tigers and the Guardians, something that absolutely happened last year in a very big way, and the collapse by the Tigers almost had them missing the postseason. Being able to have a legitimate relief ace and closer in Edwin Diaz added to the Tigers roster could help them close out more games, and we wouldn't have potentially seen the swoon that almost cost them to miss the playoffs in 2025. Adding in a guy with the pitching caliber to close out games for the Tigers in 2026 like Edwin Diaz could absolutely facilitate the Tigers into a much deeper postseason run. And the way that this team is built, they are built to head back to the postseason. They have the manager and the player personnel to be able to push themselves back into that postseason conversation. Obviously, you want to make a stand to try to bring Tarek Skubal back, to try to convince him that Detroit is the place for him to stay. How do you do that? You bring in a proven closer so that this team starts to lay the groundwork to be able to be a consistent contender each and every single year. You want to be able to woo your ace by bringing in a relief ace to close it out for him. And for me, the Tigers are the number 5 most likely landing destination for Edwin Diaz. Now, whenever there's a high-quality player available, no matter if it's pitcher, position player, international superstar, it does not matter. The Dodgers are always a potential fit. Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers could absolutely send reverberations and shockwaves through the baseball world. As the old saying goes, the rich get richer. Adding Edwin Diaz to the way that the Dodgers do things could absolutely make them not just a absolute favorite perennially to make it to the World Series and win the World Series, but it could almost stamp the possibility of going back to back to back. Being able to win 3 championships in a row, the last time happened in 98 to 2000 by the New York Yankees. The Dodgers are looking to do exactly that. How do you help them solidify that even more? By bringing in a proven closer. You then allow that bullpen to really maximize and stretch out what they're capable of doing. We know that the Dodgers are a team that pushes a full pitching staff attack. And how do you do that? How do you solidify that opportunity and that ability is by bringing in a proven guy at the back end, and then you can backfill from there. Being able to have the mixing and matching capabilities has allowed Dave Roberts to be one of the best managers in baseball over the past several years, despite how things have looked prior to winning the last 2 World Series, according to Dodgers fans. But when you think about what this team does, we've seen them take Clayton Kershaw, a no doubt Hall of Famer, out of a potential perfect game in favor of what the numbers dictate. Being able to build a team around a proven closer in Edwin Diaz amongst the plethora of starters and pitching that the Dodgers employ really allows them to solidify the way that they employ that full-on pitching attack. Edwin Diaz gives them a stable closer at the end of games, and a stability that they have not really had in LA since Kenley Jansen left. It's been whoever has been the hottest at the moment. But by bringing in Edwin Diaz, you solidify what this team does best in terms of a full pitching assault, whether it's from the starters, pitching piggybacking starts and then having different guys come in depending on the matchups. But then when you can go to that proven guy to lock things down, it really solidifies the Dodgers as an even scarier and even more formidable threat than they already are. So look for the Dodgers to be aggressive in the bullpen and relief market, and the best reliever on the market is that of Edwin Diaz. So it would not surprise me to see the Dodgers sign him. Now, when it comes to the number 3 landing destination, in my opinion, for the services of Edwin Diaz, it is the team that went directly in contrast to the Dodgers in the World Series and the Toronto Blue Jays. One of the things that hurt the Blue Jays was not having that full lockdown closer. Yes, Jeff Hoffman has his highs and his lows, as does most relievers. It is a volatile position. But being able to bring in a guy like Edwin Diaz, again, just like with the Dodgers, allows you to really push back those guys into better positions and to be better positioned, being able to hit those matchup spots in a much easier fashion. With that ability, being able to have John Snyder employ his pitchers as he sees best fitting them is facilitated by having that relief ace that you know you can rely upon. Being able to go out there with a guy like Edwin Diaz as your proven everyday closer and being able to backfill the rest of that bullpen gives you a strength and a position of power in terms of how the team is set up and how that pitching staff is laid out. What we saw work very well, think back to the Royals of 2015, was when they were able to backfill and pitch literally in reverse and have their bullpen be the front end of their team in terms of their strength of their pitching. What the Blue Jays have the ability to do with the rotation that they have and then being able to backfill with a proven closer like Edwin Diaz gives them the ability to shorten the game and in a much easier and more aggressive fashion. To me, the Blue Jays have already been aggressive with the signing of Dylan Cease, and being able to go out and get a proven closer to lock things down at the back end really start to shorten the game and start to really push them right back to being the favorites in the American League. To me, Edwin Diaz to the Blue Jays could be potentially ringing out over the airwaves very soon. Now, one of the teams that absolutely could use the services of Edwin Diaz is that of the New York Yankees. The Yankees at one point had the greatest closer in the history of Major League Baseball in Mariano Rivera. And while Diaz isn't yet at that level, there's no doubt about it that he brings a presence that is one of the closest to Mariano in this era. When it comes to the performance, the way that Edwin Diaz brings that energy, brings that fire, brings that passion, you know that this game feels all but over. And when you think about what that could mean for the New York Yankees, they are going to need to revamp their bullpen in a very serious way from what it has been the last several years. The Yankees bullpen has been absolutely plethored with ground ball pitchers, something that has not been able to be the right course of action, in my opinion, for the New York Yankees. You don't necessarily have the defense to really facilitate all ground ball bullpen. How do you change that? You go out and you get fireballers like Edwin Diaz. You have David Bednar, who's a combination of a ground ball pitcher and a strikeout pitcher. You brought in Camilo Doval, who's going to throw hard but be inconsistent. What you're able to do then by bringing in a guy like Edwin Diaz is now you shift Bednar to be your 8th inning guy. You shift Doval to be your 7th inning guy. And again, you start to shorten the game. Adding Edwin Diaz to the New York Yankees lineup coming out of that bullpen helps them shorten the game. We know the Yankees are going to be dealing with injuries to their starting rotation at the beginning of the season anyway. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to cover those innings in one way or another. So what better way than to go out and get the best reliever on the market and be able to shorten your games from the back end forward? For me, the Yankees are going to have to make bold stands this offseason. We already spoke about the fact that Dylan Cease is now on the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are going to be looking to solidify themselves in a big way. They're a potential landing destination for Edwin Diaz themselves. One of the things the Yankees were most known for was going out and getting players, just not to allow their division rivals to do so. The Red Sox have gotten Sonny Gray. Aroldis Chapman proved himself and came back in a big way as a proven and reliable closer last year and signed an extension with Boston. So you're going to be now dealing with these teams that are going to be coming and gunning for the top of that division. The Yankees were the cream of the crop in the American League in 2024. They fell out very hard in 2025, in my opinion, by missing out on winning the division because of their own shortcomings, part of which was in the bullpen. Being able to go out and get a fireballer like Edwin Diaz, a proven closer, now allows you to shorten the game, as I said, and be able to put yourselves back into a position of starting to lay the groundwork to try to get back to being the top of the American League East. It is going to be a competitive division and a competitive battle for Edwin Diaz. If the Yankees want to get back to being known as a prominent destination for free agents, it is going to be going out and getting top of the market players like Edwin Diaz. But to me, the number one and most likely landing destination for Edwin Diaz is re-signing with the New York Mets. The Mets, much like with the other teams that I have mentioned here, are going to try to put themselves back into a position of prominence. The Mets are in a position right now where they know the Braves are not going to be as bad as they were in the past couple of years, because you just can't imagine that they're going to run this same level of injuries over the past several years. So you have to assume that they're going to get back to being a much more competitive team, a top, battling towards the top of the National League East. The Philadelphia Phillies have been dominant in terms of the National League East battle over the last several years. The Mets are going to want to put themselves in a position where they start climbing back towards the top. How do you do that? You re-solidify the places that were a strength for you in the past seasons. Edwin Diaz has been a strength for the New York Mets, and without a doubt, bringing him back has to be a priority. When you think about what this team could be with the loss of Edwin Diaz in that bullpen, you now have the bullpen in complete disarray. You have the pitching staff in complete disarray because you don't have anything locked down, neither at the front end or the back end of the game. You have to build that pitching staff from one way or another, whether it be with quality starting pitching or building from your relief ace. Bringing back Edwin Diaz, to me, for the New York Mets is of vital importance. If they do not bring back Edwin Diaz, the Mets are going to find themselves in a position where they're more likely, heading towards a rebuild. And that is going completely opposite to the 3 to 5 year window that was bandied about by owner Steve Cohen when he bought the team. He wanted a World Series win within 3 to 5 years. That time has now elapsed. And if they let Edwin Diaz walk out the door and don't really find a replacement for him, which they don't seem to have in-house, that destination of winning a World Series is going to look further and further away. The way that the Mets can start to lay the groundwork to not have that be a total rebuild now with David Stearns at the helm is by bringing back their closer, Edwin Diaz. But I want to hear from you, baseball fans. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings down in the comment section below. Where does Edwin Diaz land? What does that contract look like? What is the terms of years? What is the terms of the dollars amount for his services? Let me know that down in the comments. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below, as it does truly help us continue to build this baseball community. We have a ton of new content creators here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast, a ton of new content coming for you in this upcoming season. You're not going to want to miss a single moment of it. And the best way to not is to hit that subscribe button and that bell for post notifications, so each and every time we drop new content here, you are notified. And as always, if you're not seeing the kind of coverage you want on your team here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast, reach out. We have potentially a spot for you on the team. As I said, I want to thank you for joining me here, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.